I remember the moment the laughter started, that sharp crack of disbelief echoing through the dining room like the sound of shattering glass. My family had gathered for dinner, the table laden with the same warm dishes I had grown up with, the smell of rosemary and chicken wafting through the air. Yet I felt no comfort. I had just shared my latest research on the so-called cursed microbiota, bacteria said to provoke supernatural maladies. Their faces turned, almost in unison, twisted into expressions of incredulity, their laughter ringing cruelly in my ears. Cursed microbiota? Really, Jamie? My brother scoffed. What's next? Ghost hunting? Betrayal surged through me, as if every bite of food turned to ash in my mouth. Years of study, of relentless pursuit through urban legends and folklore, now reduced to ridicule. I had lost everything, the respect of my peers, my career, and soon, I feared, my mind. I had been unjustly blamed for a viral outbreak at the hospital, a scapegoat in a system that cared nothing for truth. The whispers followed me as I became a pariah. Now I faced the ultimate laugh track, my own family. As I walked away that night, the weight of their mockery pressing on my chest, I swore I would find the truth hidden within the shadows of this world. I dove deeper into the abyss of paranormal epidemiology, an area dismissed by academia as delusional. But I had uncovered secrets that twisted my very being. Cursed bacteria, I discovered, had a will of their own, a malevolent force tied to ancient rituals. Years turned into a blur of isolation and discovery. My colleagues who once mocked me now looked up to me from afar as I became the foremost expert in a niche that danced on the edge of sanity. I survived the horrors of abandoned hospitals, spectral abattoirs, and foreboding ruins, each place a testament to a dark truth. I became a reluctant prophet of the unseen, the very thing I had been warned against. But the knowledge I gained came at a price that haunted my dreams and drenched my waking hours in dread. And then the day came when I decided to return home, to the very table where I had been mocked, to the family that had abandoned me. I was no longer the disgraceful son they had cast aside. I was now a warning. The world had learned to fear the hidden horrors I had exposed. And I was prepared to confront the very people who had once dismissed me. The day of my return was thick with anticipation and an oppressive fog that seemed to cling to my skin like an unwelcome shroud. As I walked through the door, the familiar creaks of the old house welcomed me, but the warmth of family was absent. They gathered in the living room, their expressions a mix of surprise and lingering skepticism, as if they couldn't quite reconcile the man before them with the boy they had scorned. "Jamie," my mother said, her voice trembling, "you look different." "I've seen things, Mom," I replied, my voice steady yet laden with the weight of my experiences. "Things that you can't begin to understand." Their laughter had been a shield against fear, but as I laid out my findings and the truths I had unearthed, I could see their expressions shift. I spoke of the cursed microbiota, of the spectral illnesses that twisted the minds and bodies of those they touched. I told them about the ancient wills that dictated the fates of the infected, how I had barely escaped their grasp. But it wasn't until I produced my journal, filled with notes, sketches, and the chilling accounts of those who had faced the horrors of my research, that the laughter vanished. I shared the stories of the afflicted, people driven to madness, entire families consumed by unseen forces. I could see the dawning horror wash over their faces, a tangible fear that gripped the room like an icy breath. And then, as if the air itself grew heavy with dread, a shadow flickered behind me. I turned, my heart racing, to see a dark figure coalescing at the edge of the room. It was a remnant of my research, an embodiment of the curses I had uncovered, an amalgamation of darkness, A phantom born of the very bacteria I had studied. The air turned cold. A palpable fear seeped into the walls, curling around us like smoke. "Jamie," my brother whispered, a tremor in his voice that I had never heard before. The laughter that had once echoed through these walls was now replaced by gasps of despair. They were witnesses to their own disbelief, confronted with the very specter of the ridicule they had cast upon me. As the shadow coiled around my family, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. They were finally seeing the truth, but it was too late. I had faced the horrors of the unseen, while they had cloaked themselves in ignorance. I reached for the spirit. Accursed entity, my heart pounding as I began to chant the ancient incantation I had learned, a way to banish it, to reclaim my family from the darkness they had invited. The room trembled as the shadow writhed and pulled away, dissipating as I spoke the final words. My family stood breathless as the curse lifted. The room fell silent, the heavy fog lifting like a veil. I looked at them, my heart aching for the connection we once had, now tainted by the truth they had refused to accept. As I turned to leave, their eyes wide with fear and understanding, I felt a strange mix of vindication and sorrow. They had mocked me, but now they had learned the cost of disbelief. I had survived the horrors, while they remained in the liminal space of ignorance. I stepped into the night, leaving behind a family forever changed, haunted by the shadows of their own making. The world lay before me, a canvas of dark knowledge and hidden terrors. My crown of shadows, a reminder of what I had faced and what they had lost.